Hi, everyone, and welcome to our fourth episode of the Collegian Girls. I'm Imani.
And I'm Violet.
And we are
the Collegian Girls. Yeah, so today we have another special guest with us. And yeah, Imani, do you want to go ahead and introduce him?
Yes, so today we have Jackson Fung joining us, and he'll be discussing his experience with being involved on campus while maintaining his academic responsibilities. So Jackson, could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everybody. My name is Jackson, and I am an architectural engineering major, and I'm also involved in frat life or fraternity life, if you want to be more official. I'm part of Lambda Sigma Upsilon Latino Fraternity Incorporated, and it's a multicultural, it's Latin-based, but not Latin exclusive. So you might see me like, oh, why are you in a Latino frat? It's purely in the name and when it's founded, but it's not exclusive. Yeah, that's just a quick spiel for me. I'm actually a senior with another year in my 5-year program of architectural engineering. So I'll be here for another year.
Yeah, so far, how has your experience been being at Penn State?
So far, I feel like my experience is very much like a lot of other Penn State students that have come from satellite campuses. I personally came from Abington. I know you also came from Abington, Violet. And doing the 2+2 program is definitely different than those who have already been here for all 4 years. Definitely feel a little bit more alienated, but on the other hand, there's a reason why I chose to join an organization to feel more a part of this Penn State campus.
Okay. Yeah. And how long have you been a part of your organization?
As of today, I believe almost a little more than a year, I believe.
Okay.
So for next year, what kind of role will you be taking? Because you're also like a senior.
In terms of frat life or just in general? In my fraternity, I will be the president next year. I'm trying to take on more responsibilities, trying to kind of mold myself into more of that leadership position, and not just the big things, but I believe the little things you do every day, applying leadership principles to them will actually make you a better leader than just doing one big thing. I believe those small, seemingly insignificant things, when you apply those leadership principles to them, will make you a greater leader down the road.
Mm-hmm, for sure. So before we get into the nitty gritty, let's start from the beginning. So what steps did you have to take to join this organization? How did you find out about the organization? How did you know that it was for you?
Oh, that's a great question, actually. I never saw myself being like a frat boy, so to speak. I always saw myself as like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go to school. I'm gonna get this degree, and I'm gonna build my own business afterwards. So the funny story about that is that one of my friends from high school, who was also on the wrestling team, which I was a part of, he put up on Snapchat this thing called Rum and Salsa, which is our invitational for like informational for anyone to just come and learn more about our fraternity. And I just saw it out of just pure coincidence almost. I was like, that's interesting. I'm gonna take a look at that. And I hit him up. And he didn't get back to me until like 2 weeks later. But this is how I know it was meant to be, because when he hit me back up, it was almost like we haven't seen each other in 2 years, but it felt like we never stopped talking. It was like that. And immediately I got introduced to a lot of the brothers, and I was like, yo, these are some cool people, you know, because people have this misconception about fraternities, especially ISC or the non-cultural fraternities, being very, you know, a lot of degeneracy, a lot of drinking, a lot of partying. I definitely enjoy that aspect, but the reason why I joined is not because of that. I believe that I can do all those things without joining a frat. For me, joining a fraternity was about the networking, about the brotherhood, about pursuing higher goals, about self-actualization, because during that time I was looking for something to push myself further, to get myself more involved into, I guess, the Penn State environment. And mind you, at that time, the context was that we were in COVID, so we had all Zoom classes, so there was barely any face-to-face interaction. So that also made me feel very alienated. I'm sure a lot of students can relate to this. Coming to Penn State, Maine as a junior, and already here not being, talking to anybody really, other than having Zoom, it was very, very alienating. I did not feel a connection. And as soon as I saw this fraternity, because previous to that, another fraternity tried to, I guess, give me a bid, and I saw the people there. I'm not going to mention the name, and I was like, this is not for me. This feel very much like some, how do you say it? Like this is just not for me. Whereas when it came to LSU, I was like, wow, these brothers are on their academic stuff. They're about brotherhood, cultural awareness, and diversity, and brotherhood.
Mm-hmm. So what are your responsibilities now? Your role now in the organization?
Yeah, my role as of right now is I'm the treasurer of Lambda Sigma Epsilon Latino Fraternity Incorporated. So I deal with a lot of fundraising stuff, gathering funds, keeping track of everything, reimbursing people, just a nitty gritty of just handling money. And I believe I'm doing a decent job. And also on top of that, I take responsibility for throwing events in order to do fundraisers to get more funds for our chapters so that we can host other better programs in the future. On top of that, I'm also responsible for coordinating stroll practices. And for those who don't know, strolling is basically there's stepping and strolling. So it's our frat's way of kind of going back to our roots, our Afro-Latino roots, our Latin roots. Stepping is definitely paying homage to our African American like ancestry and that part of our roots. Now I'm responsible for coordinating those practices, and hopefully in the future, you guys might see me and my brothers perform some strolls out in the yards.
Yeah. Okay, that's exciting. So with all that you just said, what is your favorite thing to do? Because it seems like you're busy. So what's your favorite thing to do? Whether that's the fundraising, the strolling.
That's a good question. I have a lot of interests. I'm in architecture engineering, and I'm also in a frat. Like it's usually when people are in frats is like they usually have an easy major, not to put any shade on anybody, but I feel like for me, I enjoy the self-discipline aspect of everything. Also the hypeness, like our call is too smooth and too hype. Like we can be smooth about how we do everything, but when it comes to getting down, we're hype. And I love strolling because I just love learning. I think that's the core aspect of everything. I just love learning new strolls and then kind of like show your hard work off. I also really enjoy fundraising too, because in the future, I see myself as somebody who's going to go into business. And I particularly like the leadership aspect of everything, just to unite all those things together. The core principle behind all these things is that you have to be a leader and you have to take ownership for everything you do. To be a good fundraiser, create a good fundraiser, you have to create the actual event, come up with ideas, and then delegate those specific roles to each person. So being in a frat is very much like being at any type of company or business. It just has more of the collegiate feel to it, and then the drinking aspect to it, which definitely is a part of that college lifestyle. But just to put it in plain words, I guess I enjoy leading. I enjoy putting things together and seeing the results that come after. But strolling is definitely fun.
Yeah. So I know that being part of a Greek organization, you can't just sign up and be in it. Like there's a whole period of like rushing and everything. And I know during that period that there's a lot going on. There's lots of responsibility. And I feel like it might be very easy to forget your focus on academics. So how did you manage to balance both?
Mm. Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because our the four principles of Lambda Sigma Epsilon Latino Fraternity Incorporated is academic excellence, cultural awareness, diversity, brotherhood, and being a role model to the community. The first thing is academic excellence.
Mhm.
And we understand that for you to be here, yes, you want to join a frat, but why are you actually here? You're here to get a degree. With the type of audience that LSU and a lot of multicultural Greeks, I guess fraternities bring is different than that. A lot of us are immigrants or have parents who are immigrants. We can't afford to just have an easy major and then, just sign up for Greek life. A lot of times the Greek life in of itself reinforces that academic excellence. So we have a lot of things that actually encourage us to do good in school because it teaches us a lot of time management. How can you do really well in school and also be an active member in your community? You have to be able to balance those things. It doesn't take, a superhuman to do so. It just takes a lot of practice and also, I guess, heart.
Now, what keeps you going? What keeps you kind of motivated each day to get the work done and fulfill all of these responsibilities?
Wow. Now we're really getting to nitty gritty. It's so interesting that you're asking that specific question because I'm doing a lot of self-reflecting recently, and I realized for a lot of my life I've been motivated by fear. Fear of failure, fear of not being good enough, fear of just like, oh, if I fail this class, I'm not gonna get a good grade. If I don't get a good grade, I'm not gonna get a good job. And then anxiety spirals out of control. And that anxiety just like it's like somebody poking me to keep me going forward. It's more like somebody chasing you rather than you chasing towards something. And for me, I want to get away from that. Instead of being chased, I want to pursue something. And for me, I realized that I want to give back to the community. I didn't grow up in the best neighborhood. I grew up in North Philly, so definitely not the best neighborhood. And I saw the people around me not being excellent. I would say it kindly that way. A lot of drinking, a lot of drugs, a lot of just I guess not pursuing higher education. And for me, I wanted to get out of that and pursue something greater. And when I was there, my fear was that I don't want to be like these people. I don't want to, lag behind and stay in this place forever and never grow out and I guess, achieve my dream or actualize myself. As of right now, I'm still trying to find that greater purpose. And I guess a good place to start for me is genuinely just giving back to the community as much as I can, or being a better leader in my community. And not just when I say community, I don't just mean Penn State as a whole. I also mean starting from a smaller aspect of just friendship, people around me who are close to me, family, friends, and then later that can tessellate out into the greater sphere of Penn State and maybe even outside of Penn State.
Yeah, so I mean, as a student in general, we have a lot of responsibilities, focusing on school, trying to get good grades, post-graduation plans and everything.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But I do feel like it is important to do other things outside, in your case, like getting involved in organizations and stuff. And what do you think are the benefits, like in your opinion?
Of joining extracurricular activity.
Yeah, like
That's a
clubs,
great point.
organizations, or anything like that.
I hear you. I believe that in order to be, I like to take a broader scope of life. A lot of the times you're at Penn State, you're in this sphere and you're very stuck on, oh, I gotta get this assignment done. I gotta do whatever. But a lot of times you just gotta zoom out and take a look at your greater life. And you gotta see that life is not just about academics. Academics is really important. Career is also important. but it's not the only thing there is in life. I would rather have, like, to put it bluntly, like I love making money, but on the other hand, would I choose money over, the health and wellness of my family and friends? I would take health and wellness any day. And I believe, and how that relates back to, I guess, joining an extracurricular activity such as Greek life, is that you become a more well-balanced person. I'm in engineering, so there's a stereotype of engineers being very like rigid and stuck in your ways. Like you put yourself in a little box, but you're very good at what you do.
Yeah.
I Even though I'm an architectural engineer, I don't necessarily want to box myself in like that. When you do that, then you reach your 40s and you have a midlife crisis, like, oh, I should have done something else in my life. Like, and I never want to get to that point. For me, joining Greek life was me, I guess, going outside of this academic bubble, because I think college is more than just grades. Once you accomplish this mission of grades and schoolwork, you can start enjoying the side quests, so to speak, of other things such as the daily collegian or Greek life or any other club sports, athletics, anything like that. And once you can put them together, you become a much more well-balanced person. I will rather talk to a person with poor grades, but are involved in a lot of other activities and are doing really well in them and well loved and respected, than to someone who just get good grades and have no life outside of that. I just think that makes you well-balanced and much more interesting person overall.
Yeah, that's actually really good. Yeah. So actually, I have a fun question for you, just like a quick fun question.
Hit me with it.
So I know we personally see you at Willard or like library all the time, because I know how hard your schoolwork is. And on top of that, you have like a lot of responsibilities with your fraternity. And now that you're becoming a president, there are going to be more responsibilities. And I know you always have your planner with you. So did that actually help you, having a planner?
Hold on, give me a second.
Yes, go get the we love the
these are all my planners for all my 4 years in college. And I believe that they have single-handedly helped me kind of get my act together, because a lot of the times people are like anxious or whatever about schoolwork, and they have a lot of things going on, like relationships, schoolwork, family problems, right? And a lot of times you just kind of have these things floating up in the air, and you can't really like catch them. You just feel like this fog over you, and it leads to decision paralysis. Everything stresses you out. Like you can't even like, and then you start making poor decisions because you don't want to do the hard decision. And what writing down and planning everything does is that it puts all your thoughts on paper, so you can literally see it. You're like, oh wow, this is what I have to do. This is what I have to do, and here's what's going wrong, and here's how I can become better. I see myself as somebody who's not, I wouldn't say particularly better at anyone than anything, but I will say that if you put me in a room with other people, I will outgrow everybody in there, just because I have that growth mindset always constantly present with me. I always feel like the underdog. And I feel like, and relating that back to like journaling and also planning, this is such a great tool to help you, I guess, put your thoughts down on paper, plan for the future, and also kind of fix what you have to get better at. Like now I've kind of graduated to like iPad, so I would write every night before I go to sleep. I will write, okay, I literally write plan for success. There's a folder in my notes called plan for success. I'll be like, plan for success Friday, date, and then I'll be like, wake up, like very, very like almost like kind of dumb how what do you say, like how redundant everything is. Like wake up, shower, meditate, and then get to campus, eat, and then like go to class. And then like when it comes to like really important tasks, I will highlight it, and I will put like really focus in this class, take really good notes. And then I would put very specific time regimens on myself. So from me waking up to me catching the bus, that's 30 minutes. And within that 30 minutes, I have taken a cold shower, I've meditated, and I've brushed my teeth, and I've gotten to the bus stop and gotten dressed in that 30 minutes. And last year specifically, I was able to do it even better just because everything was over Zoom. So I will wake up really early, get the hardest thing I have to do in a day out of the way. So wake up, cold shower, and then work out, and then run a mile, and then come back, and then start my first class of the day. If you can finish all that within the first 2 hours that you wake up, you have accomplished what most people want to get done in a day. And it's those small wins. Like once you front loaded all the hard work, the rest of the day is a breeze. Yeah, that's pretty much my spiel on that.
I love that, and I feel like I need that because even as a senior about to graduate, I still kind of struggle with a routine. I have a routine, but I'm not always strict to the book, like, you know. So I love the fact that you're saying that. But how long did it take you to kind of get in your routine and follow up day by day with it? Like, how long did it take you to get in this mindset?
Okay. You said that you don't necessarily you have a routine, but you don't necessarily follow it strictly. This is what a lot of people get wrong. You're not supposed to make a routine that's like almost like a prison. You're supposed to build a scaffolding for yourself. It's supposed to like push you up, not box you in. So if it's something like, oh, do 100 push-ups in the morning, you're not going to do that. You're obviously not going to do that. So why even put that down, you know? Like start with something very simple, like do 2 push-ups, drink a glass of water. That's easy. Everybody can do that. And over time, you can build that habit into something greater. And this is something that's taken me, I don't believe that this is the way to look at this is not that you go from start to finish. It's more a continuous process that you keep refining and refining and refining. Because I started this my sophomore year. And that actually started because I was in a bad place. It was not because I was in a good place and then I want to do better. It was more that I looked around me and I did not like where I was. And I did not like the people that were around me. So I was like, I need to separate myself from the pack. And this is how I'm going to do it. And really just started all from YouTube. Like watching YouTube, like learning how to do better, how to dress better, how to speak better, how to think more clearly, how to write down everything, how to just all these things, how to, stick to a regimen. And reading books actually helped me a lot. One of the books I read was The Power of Habit and Atomic Habit. Those 2 books have really helped me a lot in terms of like step by step how to create an actionable habit routine that you can follow through. And honestly, a lot of this stuff is just make it easy and make it attractive. I didn't used to drink a lot of water. Like I would be dehydrated every single day. One of the rules and principle of creating a good habit is to make it easy and also make it attractive. That's why I bought a Hydro Flask, not sponsored, but it's when it's attractive and it's easy, you want to do it more. I drink at least like 2 bottles of water every day now, and I never really feel dehydrated. And that's just a small principle. And honestly, from this, it was working out. Working out was the main thing that kept me really stick to everything as well, because that keystone habit, actually a lot of other habits built off of that. Working out means if you want to have a good workout, you better get good sleep. So that's another habit you want to build. If you want to have a good workout and have good sleep, you better eat right. So now you're creating a network. Don't create a chain, because when you create a chain, if one link is weak, the entire chain gets broken. Create a network. So that even one part falls apart, other part will support it. I hope I'm making sense.
Yeah, a lot of you need to be my mentor.
I feel like everything you said today is just like genuinely like really good advice, not just for the viewers, but I feel like we learned a lot too. Yeah. And
I'm still learning too, so I wouldn't say I'm a guru or nothing.
No, but it was great. And I mean, before we wrap it up, do you want to give like any last advice for students who are looking to be a part of any clubs or organizations?
Yeah, actually. The one thing there's two things specifically. The one question I always ask people who wants to join my fraternity is, why are you here? You know, like why do you want to be here, and why are you here? Because I really believe that if you have a why, you can go through any how. Like, you know, you can every painful experience, every exam, every grueling study session is temporary pain. Every workout is just temporary pain. But if you know why you want to do this, like, oh, I want to get good grades because I want to, you know, I want to get this great job in the future so I can support my family and give back to my community. That's your reason why. And if you have that reason why, you'll study so much harder in school instead of be like, oh, I don't want to, instead of temporary fears and anxiety such as, oh, I don't want to fail. And other thing is, like, kind of I've gotten this a lot from people, like close friends around me, which is they tell me to be easier on myself. Like, don't be so hard on yourself, because when you put too much pressure on yourself, you actually end up regressing in a way. Because it comes with a lot of guilt and shame and fear. These are all kind of like low vibration emotions and feelings that will actually set you back rather than push you forward. So know why you're here, and also, I guess, just be easier on yourself. You know, take your time. Like, don't rush. A lot of us are all like in our 20s, 21, 22, whatever. Like, we're still super young, and to be able we're already above, not to sound like cocky, but like, we're already more fortunate than 99% of the people in the world. Like, we're already set up for success. Instead of comparing yourself to those who are born with money, compare yourself with those compare yourself to your past self, I guess. And kind of like take credit for the amount of stuff you've accomplished, and just, you know, you can be proud but never satisfied. I guess that's my mantra at the end of the day.
And how were you able to apply the advice that your friends gave you, like take it easy on yourself? How did you apply it to yourself? Did you start, is that when you started to do meditation? And I'm asking for myself because I feel like I'm in a place where I'm, you know, a senior year, we have to find jobs, and it's just stressful. And I feel like
it is
that you spoke to me directly, because I've been beating myself up. Like, I don't have anything lined up yet. And I just keep thinking of all the negative things that I can't even appreciate the fact that, wow, I'm actually graduating and people can't say that. So I'm happy that you said that, because it made me feel like, wow, like, let me just chill off of myself.
Yeah, a book I would recommend to you that's actually helped me a lot is The Power of Now. Also not sponsored, but it's my sister actually recommended to me, and it's a very, it's not, I don't like stuff that are like new agey, like, oh, like crystals and stuff, and this book is not that. It's really about like spiritual growth and personal growth. And I think that it puts it almost in a scientific way, because when you said that you always focus on the negative and like the fear and anxiety because you're kind of motivated by it. Not necessarily motivated, but it pushes you to, you know, the anxiety pushes you further and further. But that one question I want to ask you, or kind of like I want to talk about, is like, when you think about the past, what's the emotion that comes up? Like,
when I think about the past, what emotion comes up? I think,
or the future, actually, past and future, they're two different emotions.
So the past, I can say I feel happy thinking about my past. I feel like I did everything that I needed to do to get to where I am now. I'm satisfied with my grades. I'm satisfied with the work that I turned in. I'm satisfied with my relationships that I have, friendships that I have. So I say I could honestly say that I'm happy with the decisions that I've made in the past to get where I am. But the future is blur, and which gives me anxiety, because it's just like, okay, so After you graduate middle school, you go to high school. After you graduate high school, I knew I was going to college. But now that I'm graduating college and don't have a job, I guess, it's like, well, what now? Like, it's anxiety. You know what I mean? I'm anxious about it. So,
and that's the point I want to kind of get to, is that you said that you're happy about your past and I believe that it's because you've made peace with the past.
Right.
Like you're satisfied or how you've got to where you are now, and you're like, oh wow, everything kind of worked out. But for a lot of people, when you think about the past, you get kind of depressed, or like you get kind of melancholy or sentimental thinking about the past. When you live in the past, you live with a sense of kind of like depression or sadness. And a lot of people, when you think about the future, it comes with a sense of dread or anxiety. On the opposite spectrum of that is kind of hope, which I believe is a really strong emotion. So I think you have a good relationship with your past, but like many other people, myself included, I have no exception from this. A lot of people have that negative relationship with the future, as in like, oh, like this anxious feeling, this stress. The reason why I brought up this point in this book as well is that you have these negative emotions when you stop living in the present. You know, that's the whole point of meditation, is not to be like, oh, I'm such a guru or whatever. It's more like to find your inner peace, like in the specific moment. You know, when you're eating food, and it's so good, like you're just like, oh my God, this is so good. You're really living in that moment, and you're not thinking about the exam you have tomorrow. You're not thinking about that stupid thing you did in like 8th grade. You're just really living in that moment. Or when you're with a person you love, you're like, oh wow, I can be with you forever. You're not thinking about the past trauma you went through. You're not thinking about the future stressors that are coming along. You're really living in that moment. And for me, this is a practice I'm trying to implement into my life, is to truly be in the moment. When you're in the moment, you reach a flow state of being like 100% present in the moment, with 100% accuracy and efficiency, doing what you have to do and really enjoying and soaking in everything you have to do. When you're not in the moment, you're kind of like multitasking. You're kind of having 50% energy in like texting, and then 50% energy into studying. And what should have taken 1 hour will now take you 3 hours. And it all comes down to like efficiency, I guess. And being in the moment, being more present. And I'm not like an expert on this yet, but I'm just kind of repeating and regurgitating what I personally learned and have applied for myself.
Yeah, no, this is great. And I love the conversation that we're having. And before we wrap it up completely, is there anything else that you want to say?
Not really, except like I do want to ask you guys like questions, like how are you guys doing in the semester? Like how are you guys handling, schoolwork and also extracurricular activities and just like life and relationship in general? Do you guys feel like you're in a good place, or is there something you can do better?
Well, I mean, I definitely, like what Imani said, like I feel that, because like before we were like in middle school, high school, like we knew what we were going to do after. But now, even if we have like some kind of vision of like, oh, this is the kind of career I want to have, like this is what I want to do, it's a lot different. It feels like you're like really getting thrown into the real world where you could, like, you're just so lost and it's so scary. And yeah, that's why like your advice really helped. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I could say for this semester, honestly, this semester is the most easiest semester that I have. All of my classes are online and I have a lot of free time. So I'm pleased with that. But my question to myself is, am I using my free time wisely? Like, do I just lay and watch TV all day? Or do I sit up here, edit my resume, write cover letters, and apply to jobs? Like, I'm just still trying to find that balance of not stressing myself out too much with, worrying about it too much, and still giving myself some time to just relax. So that's where I'm at with it. I feel like I'm doing better as days come and go. I'm doing better. I'm feeling more confident, and having conversations like these ones just remind me that I'm not alone. Like, we're all going through it, and we all have our personal ways of getting through it, but we're not alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, that that's sometimes like we all need that reminder, just being like,
Mhm.
oh, we're all in college, we're all still young, like
Yeah.
we're doing a lot, and like sometimes it's okay to like kick yourself a little bit to like go forward, but like not too much to where you like shame yourself. You have to
Mhm.
be like, you are like a football team, you are like a sports team, you're the player, you're also your own coach, and you're also your biggest fan. Like that's what you have to keep in mind, and you're also the ref too. Be like, yo, like what was that, dude? Like stop
I
that.
like that.
Like
Yeah,
you know.
right?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. Well, thank you so much for joining our
Yeah.
podcast. I
Thank
absolutely
you
love
so
it.
much. Yeah, like I learned so much today.
Yes.
Yeah,
And I
well,
wrote that
thank you guys.
power now. I wrote that down. I'm
Mm,
going to look into that.
mm, mm. Well, thank you guys for having me on.
Mhm.
Genuinely had a great time talking to you guys. I'm glad I could help in some ways, I guess, and I feel like you guys have helped me to get some thoughts out of my mind.
Mhm.
So I appreciate that.
That's great. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
And thank you all for tuning in again to our 4th episode. I'm Imani,
And I'm Violet,
and we are
the Collegian Girls.